Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timikemza James. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to cut a pant without a pattern. So guys, I'm actually going to be teaching you how to couple these pants together, how to fix a fly zip, how to add a pocket, that's the side pockets, the regular pockets that we know, then a waistband. But because the video, I don't want it to be extensively long, so I'm going to be separating it into like 3 or 4 videos. But today we are going to be concentrating on the cutting of the pants. So let's get into the video proper. For what I'll be using my hip curve, my pattern master. I'm basically using this for the ruler purpose. If you have a ruler, you can do that. I'll be using a tape, a pair of scissors. Guys, make sure your scissors is always sharp. Let it be sharp because it will give you this dark knuckles. So I'll be needing a chalk and a fabric. Guys, this is from my Ankara collection. Guys, you can check me out, Timikemza James, on Instagram and Timikemza James on Facebook. Guys, just look at this. This is really beautiful. I have a wide range of beautiful prints that you can pick from. So guys, let's get into fold this fabric by 2. So how I measured out what to fold here is the largest circumference of the body is what I used to fold this by 2. So for a pant pattern, the largest circumference should be the lap. I know guys, you want to think maybe the hip should be the largest circumference. Yes, but the hip is going to be divided by 4, but the lap is going to be divided by 2. So the lap is always the largest circumference. So lap divided by 2 is what I have here, with a little bit of allowance for sewing. So you can just measure out your own. So guys, I'm going ahead to mark 2 inches out of my length like so, and I'm marking this because of my my back extension. So that's why I'm marking that. So I'm just going to rule this into a straight line like so. So guys, I'm quite tall, so I'm going to be using the total length of this fabric because Ankara is not one of those fabrics that has like a very long length. So that's what I'm doing. So now I'm going to be marking my vertical measurements, which from my waist to my hip. Now I'm going to be adding a waistband, which is about 1.5 inch. So I'm placing my 1.5 inch from these 2 inches like so before I continue my vertical measurement. So from my waist to my hip is 8 inches, so I'm marking 8. Then from my waist, 8.5. Then from my waist to my crouch, I have 10 inches, so I'm marking 10 inches. So from my waist to my knee is the next measurement that I'm marking, is 20 inches. Then from the knee down to the length, you mark. By the time I draft this point, I'll move the fabric because of our table, so I can insert the other measurement. So I'm coming over here to insert the same measurement so that I can rule that into a straight line. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw them out. This is my crouch line. So I'm just going over to rule that point. So here are my points. Now I'm going to be inserting my horizontal measurement. So on my crouch line, this is my crouch line, I'm going to just go ahead and call it CL. Then this is my hip line, I'll just go ahead and label it HL. It's just for your sake that I'm labeling this. So for my knee line, I'm just going to label it KL. So there we go guys. So on my crouch line now, I'm just going to measure my lap, divide by 2. So whatever your lap measurement is, I'm going to go ahead and divide it by 2. So here we go. Then on this line, I'm going to mark out 1/2 inch sewing allowance from here, like so. Then from the 1/2 inch, I'm going to insert my measurement. So I have it here to this point, like so. So on my hip line, I'm going to mark 1/2 inch sewing allowance here, like so. Then from there, I'm going to mark my hip measurement, like so. Then I'm going to come over with my French curve, but I'm using my pattern master here. You can use your French curve. You should use your French curve. Just going ahead to make a subtle curve there. Then whatever I have here on this hip line, I'm just going to measure it like so. Then I'm going to mark the same thing on the waistline. Then I'm going to connect that into a straight line. Now this is not going to be our waist measurement, so I'm going to insert the waist measurement now. So on the waist, from here now, all our measurements when we're adding from this side seam towards the center front of the pant. But on this waistline, we are going to start from the center point of the line backward towards the seam side. So I'm going to measure my waist measurements, divide by 4. Whatever I have, I'm going to mark it here. Now note, our hip is divided by 4, our waist is divided by 4, but on our crouch line, we added our lap measurement, which we divided by 2. On the knee, we are going to divide the knee by 2. On the hem, we are going to divide the ankle by 2. So it's just the hip and the waist that is divided by 4. So divide by 4, I just marked my waist measurement here. Now I'm going to add 1 inch for that there, like that. Then I'm adding 1/2 of an inch or 1 inch for sewing allowance. So because I'm going to be needing 1/2 of an inch to sew this side together and to sew this side, so that's why I'm adding 1 inch sewing allowance on this point. So I'm going to use my hip curve to just go ahead and connect this to my hip, like so. So there we go, I've connected it. Let me make that to be very, very visible for you to see. So there we go. So now I'm going to come over to my, I'm not done with the waist, but when I do the knee, I'll come back to the waist. So on my knee line, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to measure this, my crouch line here, and find the midpoint. So I have 16 here, so I'm going to find 1/2 of 16, which is 8. So I'm going to mark 8, like so. So I'm going to come over to this point as well. Then I'm going to mark that 8 inches also on this point. Then I'm going to connect that. Just going to draw a line across the both points, like so. So this line is going to be extended to the hem of our pants, but then I'm coming back to that. So on the knee point, I'm going to insert my knee measurement. So now my knee measurement is 18 inches. That's how, now on this side you are at liberty to make it how wide or how slim as you want. That depends on the style of the pant. If you want a palazzo pant that the knee is kind of free, you can go ahead and just insert how big you want that. Also on the hem side is the same thing. So for this one, I want a very straight cut trouser that is almost like a pencil trouser, but not like tight on that point. So my knee is 18 inches, divide by 2 is 9 inches. So I want to divide 9 into this part and this part of this line. So 9 inches divided by 2 is 4.5. So I'm just going to spread that across 9 here. Then I have my starting point here, which means I added 4.5 from here to here, then 4.5 from here to here. By the time you measure that, it will be 9 inches. So that's what you want to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect my crouch, this crouch point to my knee, like so, using a curved, I'm using my curve, so to do that. Then I'm as well going to be connecting this point to my knee, to my hip point, like so. So you can see our pant is beginning to take the shape of a pant. So on the waistline now, I'm coming back to the waist. I'm coming down by ½ inch. That's for that sort of curve that we have here, around here for the pant. I'm coming down by ½ inch. Then I'm going to connect that like so. The reason for this slant is so that the waist of the pant can sort of look snug around the waist axis. So I'm just going to move my fabric so that I can continue. Now you remember I told you I'm going to extend this line that started from the crouch to the knee point. So you remember it was 16 inches divided by 2, so I'm marking that 8 here. Then I'm going to connect those points. So here now, guys, I'm going to be marking my hem. So I'm marking 2 inches upwards here. That's for hemming the pants. I'm going to be using that 2 inches to make the hem of the pants. If I discover that the length is kind of short for me, I might end up hemming it with another fabric or cutting out a strip to turn over the legs. So now this is going to be my hemming allowance. So for the ankle point, I want it to be 15 inches wide. So 15 inches divided by 2. I'm going to mark that like so. This is what I have. I have about 7.5. So I'm going to divide 7.5 by 2 so that I can spread that across the lines. So this is what I have. So I'm going to mark it 7.5 here. Then, sorry guys, 7.5 like so. Then here. Then I'm just going to go ahead to connect this. If you have a longer ruler, it will kind of serve you better, because what you want to do is connect the knee point to that 7.5. So guys, here we go. Everything is looking nice. You can see. So for me to cut this, I'm going to, before I start cutting, I'll just, this hemming allowance, because in as much as you feel this line is a straight line, that is not actually straight, it's slanted, and you don't want a situation where after hemming your pants, when you're hemming it, this hem allowance should sort of crease inside the pant. So what I'm going to do is, on that line, I'm going to fold it over like so. inwards like so, so that when I cut, I'm going to have the same thing on this side. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut my pants like so. So now guys, this is our two front panels. So on the knee side, and we kind of did not see me add sewing allowance. That's because the sewing allowance on the knee, the hem, it's actually going to the back side of the pant. So guys, there are so many ways you would see people cut pants, but the most beautiful thing is that we achieve the same results. So this is just one of the ways where you can, the techniques. So guys, I went ahead to fold this into two as well, just like I did to the front pattern. You can see I just laid the front pattern on the back pattern, on the front piece on the back piece, sorry. So what you want to do is, on this crouch line, you want to make sure you have at least 2.5 inches like so. So the back piece is supposed to be bigger than the front piece. So you can see I have my 2.5 here. Then another thing you want to do is to ensure that the hem matches, both the front and the back hem matches like so. So there should be a match like so on the hem point, because so when you do that, this is what I'm going to do. On this hem point, I'm going to mark 2 inches. That's for my sewing allowance. You remember I told you the sewing allowance is going to the back, so I'm just going to mark 2 inches like so. I'm just marking 2 inches all through. Then I'm marking that on this point, this crouch cuff point, and then the inner thigh point. That's where I'm marking my 2 inches like so. As for the side seam point is that there's nothing happening there. You're just cutting the exact same thing as the front piece. So for this point, that's my crouch point. That's on my lap, or my crouch line. I'm going to extend this line that we have here. I'm extending it by like so, by 2.5 inches. So I'm going to make sure I have 2.5 inches. Then I'll mark it like so, instead of the regular 2 inches I have on all other sides. Then I'm going to mark 0.6 inches downwards. You can do 0.5 on that point. Then using my curve, I'm going to connect that 0.6 that I marked downward to this point here. So I'm going to have something like this. Then for the rest of the point, I'm going to connect them like so. So now I'm coming over to my waist point. Now you remember we dropped this on my waist point. You remember we dropped here by half of an inch on my waist. So I'm going to mark that half inch back like so. Then from that half inch, I'm going up by 1.5 inch like so. The reason why I'm using 1.5 inch is to be able to fit the bum. So if you have a smaller bum, you can actually do 1 inch, but if you have a fuller bum, you can do 1.5 or 2 inches. So I'm going to connect, just going to adjust that. So this is our waist point, where our waist began. So I'm just going to draw a slanted line going upwards from this side of the waist to that extension where I said the bum is supposed to fit. Then I'm going to mark whatever I have here on my waist. I'm going to mark that. Then I'll do the same thing on the slanted line upwards. I'll mark that like so. Then I'm adding 1/2 inch to join the back side, to join this back side properly. Then what I'm going to do now is to connect these points that I have here to that 0.6 inch where I came down from the crouch length. So what I want to do is to connect this point to, so that's going to be my back crouch. So you just find a way to sort of use my French curve to curve that. So this is what I have. As you can see, the back side kind of looks slanted from the bum area towards the waist. So this is what you want. As for this side, what you're going to do basically is just trace out the same thing as the front panel. So I hope you understand. If you have any difficulty, you can drop a comment asking me about it in the comment section. I'll be very much available to answer you. So I'm just going ahead to cut. So guys, please do not make the mistake of coming over to cut your front piece again, because I think that happened to me one time that I was trying to cut a pant. It happened to me and it wasn't a beautiful experience, guys, because I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. So guys, here we go. This is our front panel and this is our back panel. So let me lift the front so that you can see what the back panel looks like. Our pant patterns. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I have a new video up on the channel. And if you have any questions, suggestions or anything, you can drop a comment. I'll be readily available to answer you guys. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please do ensure to comment below. See you in my next video, guys. Bye.